Welcome to Coffee with the Mayor. I'm Deb Trelli, and we are broadcasting live from the top of Tampa Bay and beautiful downtown, although rainy, Oldsmar, with our host, Oldsmar Mayor Eric-Seidel. These segments are featured each Wednesday following an Oldsmar City Council meeting for the community. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm probably more awake than you are.
I feel like we never left here.
So before we begin, we encourage our viewing audience to submit any questions they may have during this segment by commenting on our Facebook live feed, and we will try our best to get those answers for you. And just in case we don't, you can always email Mayor-Seidel directly at eseidel@myoldsmar.com regarding anything we discussed today. Coffee with the Mayor was developed by you to keep our residents, businesses, and community partners informed on highlights from last night's council meeting. So, were there any interesting comments during Citizens Open Forum?
There might have been one or two.
Oh, really? I lost count.
I think last night goes in the history, the record books anyhow. We probably had more speakers during the Citizens Open Forum than I can ever remember. It really took on more of a public hearing feel to it. Mm-hmm. And that was, of course, because we had a major issue to discuss on the agenda, and that was the density level for downtown.
Okay.
And so we had folks who spoke in opposition. We had folks who spoke in favor. We had some who were expressing concerns who lived nearby about traffic and all the things that you would expect. And you had some people who felt strongly about how long we've been working on building a downtown. And so I'll talk about just a couple of key points, but I'd encourage everyone to go watch that. It's long. It's at least a couple hours, which is very unusual. I was really impressed with the number of people who came out to make sure that they were, their voices were heard, they're participating in the process. And so that was terrific. And everybody was really, I thought, very respectful of the opposing views and listening, and so that's probably one of the trademarks of Oldsmar. I think that's more the way we do business here as a city.
Definitely,
and I think that's an expectation. But some of the key points folks made, I mentioned the area can't handle the traffic. They're concerned that the small town feel might get lost because we're talking about putting in over 300 apartments over here as part of a mixed use where the downstairs is retail facing out to the road. And that was a concern. Others made a point of saying we've been promising a town center for over 20 years. And, you can look over here and it's still an empty field.
Yeah.
And using taxpayers' dollars to buy up that land. And it's been a long process, and we seem to start and stop. And a lot of people were saying they think it's time that we move forward with it. And the argument, I think, that the business community was making, who was there, was you can't have a downtown and all these little shops that you want unless you can have some density and have people there to support them. And so I thought it was a pretty well-balanced argument all the way around. And in the end, just for clarity, we weren't voting as a council to change the density.
Right.
It's a process, and some of this has been misunderstood out in the community. Some of it was misstated on social media. Whatever the case is, I think that all kind of got discussed last night. I'm not going to go there, but anytime we make a major decision like that, it's a process. Now, this would be an ordinance change. And just so everyone knows, the first step of an ordinance change is we talk about it as a council, because it doesn't just appear on the agenda. It has to start somewhere, right? Yeah. So we talk about it, and then if we are in agreement, we instruct the city attorney to go draft an actual ordinance that perfects the change. That automatically triggers 2 public hearings and 2 public votes in order for it to pass, and it must pass both votes. So. Last night, the council, after discussing it, like I said, I encourage everyone to go take a look at it.
Sure.
And judge for themselves. And also the part where we actually made the change, because it was a little disconnected. Like I said, we kind of allowed Citizens Open Forum to act like a public hearing.
Yeah.
Everybody showed up, then everybody's going to get heard. We'll sit there until the next day if we had to, right?
Yeah.
And but it did pass. Everyone supported it with the exception of Councilmember Siraki didn't support it. The others all did. So there was a super majority that moved it forward, which means it'll appear on another agenda with an ordinance actually there. I'll have a public hearing, and we'll vote on it. And if it passes again, it'll go to another meeting and so forth. But once again, I just want to thank everyone who came out, because to me it was a really good sign. We try very hard. It's one of the reasons we started this, right, to get the word out.
Correct.
And something that really came out in last night's meeting, to me anyhow, how many people who live closer said, hey, I don't know anything about this. And, we've been working on this for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Last 2.5 years since I've become mayor, it's been on the agenda 25 times. We've had meeting-specific workshops about it. But still, people are busy. They got lives, they got jobs, they've got kids, they've got things they're doing. And so we're going to continue to work on that and try to get the messaging out better so people are well informed, and hopefully we get more people participating. But it was a record. I don't like this camera setup, by the way, that it's only me on the camera. We're missing Mark is not here today.
Yeah.
He's on vacation, so Deb is pulling double duty.
Double duty, Deb. Yep. Oh, so, well, thank you for that insight, by the way.
You're welcome.
Council Member Gannon presented the business of the quarter for August 2021 to Dr. Shim with the Shim Spine Institute. How is this award determined?
Well, the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber recommends who the winner will be, because they work daily with the business community, and so they do a great job of it. And, of course, Dr. Shim, who is new to the community, still fairly new. He built that building on the corner of State Street and St. Pete Drive, and there's Shim Spine, and then there's Entanglement Media.
Yes.
And Entangle Media, and Dr. Shim, by the way, he has almost like 1 million followers on his podcasts. He does, and he talks about the spine and all kinds of information he's listened to worldwide. Most people don't know that, but he is. And Entangle Media, they're in the software business, and they're doing something that I think is very exciting. Probably not done. I've never heard of it done. Certainly, they're taking their legal software and they've created this software that's really using artificial intelligence to help search for things. And I'll probably not describe it the best, but it's a little bit complex. And so they're hiring people who are training on it, and when they're done training, and they might come out of hospitality or people who want a new career or something like that, and when they're done, these law firms are hiring them at a much higher pay because they're an expert on the software. So it's pretty cool. So hats off to them. They're doing good stuff here in Oldsmar.
Yeah, good people.
Yeah.
And you presented the Council Manager Award for August 2021 to the General Manager of Oldsmar's Walmart Supercenter. Can you tell us more about the award recipient? Sure.
Suzette Daly. She just came to this Walmart in March, so she's new. And I said this last night. We have, over the years, I've been around the chamber and folks, we've had some outstanding general managers over there who've been really proactive in the community. Josh, who was just there, who got reassigned. And then we've had some who, frankly, were busy and not very involved. She got here right at the time we were doing Operation Pop Drop, which, as you know, is one of the biggest collection of food and items for, I guess really more non-perishable items for Oldsmar Cares. She jumped in right away, reached out to us, and has just been a rock star. So she was given the award and well-deserved. And, of course, she's done other things since that project.
Yeah.
And she's terrific. So really excited that she's here.
We're blessed to have her, that's for sure.
Indeed, indeed.
Oh, so a request was made to council to authorize the city attorney to prepare an ordinance amending a section of the Land Development Code in the town center to utilize public right-of-way for outdoor dining accommodations. So did council authorize the request?
They did.
Oh,
they did. And so just to give a little backdrop to that, some of you might remember during the shutdown of COVID where we had signed an executive order as mayor that allowed restaurants to use part of their parking to set up some outdoor dining, right? And so, and some of those are public right-of-ways. And so we allowed that. It had some real success, and it's kind of the vibe we're looking for in the downtown area. And so the problem is, because we no longer are under emergency order, thank goodness, there was no way to make it permanent where it was appropriate to. And so that's really what that is all about, creating a path to be able to make it permanent when we have those opportunities.
Oh, nice. And city staff presented the final report of the Climate Resiliency Plan. That was a lot of work. So how did this, how will this plan impact our community?
Well, it's very important, as I'm sure anybody who's following, what's happening in the climate and, in our climate. I don't get into the debate over climate change. It's more like it's a climate problem for us to solve. We hear it all the time from folks. Oldsmar's flooding, and it's happening more often. And we have to address that. And it's not a short-term fix. It's a long-term fix. And the sustainability plan, it addresses a few things. Number one, hardening of our city assets, right? And what's that mean? It means envisioning, like we have a water plant that sits right next to the water.
Yeah.
Right. So flooding, be it stormwater or new high tides, that's going to become an issue. And so it's how do we plan for that, both from a budgeting standpoint and a prioritizing standpoint. Some of it's simple, like raising our pumps up higher in the lift stations, that kind of stuff. Some of it's much more complicated. But there's also actions that we can plan and take to help reduce some of the stormwater to create more saturation. And this gets into, restoring some certain water beds that are natural to make them more absorbent. And so it's a big plan, but it has, what I like about it, it has actionable items. And one of the things that is getting addressed in that is how do we improve our community rating scale? And so community rating scale is a scale that FEMA uses for your community when they're making a rate decision on what you pay for flood insurance. And I hate to say this, but the new floodplains that FEMA has put out that take effect sometime this month, like I want to say it's the 13th.
24th.
24th, okay. Well, I was a week out. It's going to impact a lot of citizens here in Oldsmar who are going to be paying for flood insurance. It's going to require it where it didn't before. And, we're very concerned about that as a city and trying to find changes that we can make that improve that rating so our citizens get bigger discounts.
Yeah.
And so it's a big effort, and but they did a great job on the report, and so we'll keep working on it.
Wonderful. A request was made to the council to approve a special event application for the 39th, that's hard to believe, annual Armadillo Run hosted by the Rotary Club of Oldsmar and Eastlake. Did council approve the request?
They did, and they do a terrific job. And so, like you said, I can't believe it's been this many years. I remember somebody who used to go out there and actually would do the mascot, the armadillo. Do you know who that was, Jeff?
I think that was Debbie Dilla. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was you. But they do a great job. So the Rotary, they facilitate and sponsor Student of the Month at the local schools, and they do Thanksgiving and Christmas adopt-a-family programs, youth mentoring, educational scholarships, wheelchair for wounded warriors, and a lot of other humanitarian programs.
Yeah,
so we're excited to see that they're continuing to do that and happy to help them.
And when will that event be held?
It's going to be held August 28th.
Oh, Saturday. Good.
Aren't you impressed that I knew the day?
I'm very proud of you. Yes.
And just everybody watching, she did not provide me that day. I noted that from last night. So.
Oh, Lord. Well, the city manager requested approval of a contract with the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office for law enforcement services. Was this request approved?
Yes, it was. And it was an increase of just over 3%.
That's not bad.
No, it's not. And, we spend a lot, but it's a very important factor, as everybody knows, that we don't have our own law enforcement department. We did at one time many years ago, but we have since outsourced it, and the Sheriff's Department does a terrific job. What I don't know everybody appreciates this, but by us partnering with them, and of course we get our own community officers, which we all have a great relationship with. They get to know the community. It feels like they're ours.
Yeah.
Right? But if we have a major event occur, within 15 minutes, we might have 50 officers here, helicopters, tanks, SWAT, all these assets that as a small city, we would not have.
Correct.
And so they just do a terrific job for us. So, yes, we approve that, and we all can rest safely.
There you go.
Safely, yes.
City Council discussed the current CDC guidelines. So how did that conversation go?
Well, as everybody's aware, certainly this new round, for lack of a better word, variant.
Delta variant.
It's a concern, of course. And it seems to be impacting those who decided not to get vaccinated much more, although there's the breakthrough cases. But we as a city, of course, we have to address these things as they come up. And we certainly don't want to overreact at the same time. And one of the issues always are face masks, to face mask or not to face mask, right? And so we as a city, the city manager and the council supports him on this, has made the decision because we have some employees who might be higher risk and they have expressed concerns that I think starting today they're requiring face masks in the building.
I better go buy some.
Better go get some, lady. But we're not requiring it of our citizens coming into public buildings. Okay. And part of that is we didn't really get into that debate, should we, shouldn't we? But the truth is we can't anyhow because the governor signed an executive order that doesn't allow it. You can require it of your employees, but not the public coming into your business. So that's where we stand on that.
Okay. Well, City Council considered 2 employment agreements last night. One was for our current Assistant City Manager, Felicia Donnelly, to serve as City Manager effective January 1st of 2022. And the other one was for our current City Manager, Al Braithwaite, to serve as a Special Projects Manager from January 1st through July 31st of 2022. Were these agreements considered?
They were. Let me see here. Yeah, they were considered. And as everyone knows, or maybe not everyone knows, but our city manager made the decision he's retiring. Good for him.
Yeah.
And so what this contract does is it perfects the ability for him actually to have his last day as city manager being December 31st. Then he'll spend 6 months in a special role as the Special Projects Manager. And then our new city manager, Felicia Donnelly, we also approved her contract, and she will take hold of the office on January 1st. So she's going to have an exciting New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Right? Pretty exciting. I think Al will have even a lot more fun,
And this kind of happened when Bruce retired. We rolled into him as that.
I'll say this for our city, and there's a lot of cities in the community or in the region right now who are looking for city managers. Not a lot, but there's more than usual. And so we feel very good about our succession plan. And this started back when Bruce Haddock was here, and we made that transition for Al. So Bruce could be here for a solid 6 months. I mean, it's a big job to run the city.
Yeah.
And it should give the citizens some comfort that we have that type of continuity there. And so we're doing the same thing in this transition. And so it was both of them were approved. And, it's exciting to have that done and done in such a way that it's a safe transition. The citizens don't have to worry about there being some kind of crazy interruption. And Al's done a terrific job for the city over the years. And I'm excited for Felicia. She's going to do terrific.
Yeah.
She'll do great things for the city. So, yes, that was approved. And voila, just like that. Just like that.
Were there any other key items or actions from the council meeting or announcements?
Not so much. I mean, those are really the highlights. There were certainly some other things, but we picked out the highlights, and it was really a meeting that was most dedicated to the issue of density. And so, a couple of things that are worth mentioning. We've got the second Friday that's coming up, which would be next Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, next Friday.
13th. Ooh.
The 13th. Downtown, the Chamber of Commerce puts that on. They did their first one last month, which was so much fun.
Yeah.
Most of the council won't be at this one, unfortunately, because we have to go to the Florida League of Cities meeting.
Annual conference.
Yeah. I'd rather be here if I can. Well, because it's a lot of meetings. But it'll be a lot of fun. And so I encourage everybody to come out.
Cool.
And then the Oldsmar Tap House and Golf Cart Cafe, they're doing something kind of fun September 4th at noon, which is Labor Day weekend. They're holding a golf cart poker run.
Ooh, have fun.
That'd be nice, right? Something different. And so go by and register over at the Tap House. It starts at noon. You should register in advance starting August 1st. So they've already started registration.
Wonderful.
And they're doing it for kids' pedal power.
Oh.
So go get involved in that.
Wonderful.
We got any questions?
We do have one from Sean Swagger. So
hey, Sean, how you doing?
Sean looks like he's doing good. He looks a little tired from last night, though. Mayor, can you clarify what a development agreement entails? Is this something a private landowner could provide if they were looking to develop a mixed-use project? And well done last night, he says.
Thank you, sir. That's a great question. A development agreement is in certain areas of the city, especially in the CRA, which is the downtown general area. It's a little bit bigger than that. But when someone wants to do some type of commercial development, based on certain conditions, we have an extra requirement that they have to agree to in order to get a permit, right? And we call it a development agreement.
Right.
And there's very specifics in it, right? It will get into concurrency testing. I've heard a couple people mention this in terms of, well, what will the impact be to the water plant? What will it be to the sewage plant? And those type of things. That's a standard operating procedure, by the way. And it's part of a concurrency review. And so those types of things would be part of a development agreement. It might also include impact fees, right? So you got a big development rolling in, and we've assessed that there's going to be a demand on our sewage system, and so therefore we estimate what that demand will cost in terms of capital improvements of the city, and we require the developer to pay that. So that's a great question, but it addresses all those different types of requirements, and it's a step beyond the normal where the zoning allows you to do something. You just can come in and submit your plans, and you can do it.
Okay.
But there are certain that require development agreements, and so that was a great question. We probably should have explained that more last night. So.
Oh, well.
So you get it. But, listen, any more questions?
No, that's it.
Because you know what I just realized?
Uh-oh.
I'm out of coffee.
That's not good.
That's not good. So listen, let me say thank you to everybody for tuning in. And once again, I want to thank all the citizens who came out last night and the council who worked real hard and the staff that we kept up there real late. So everybody go out and make it a terrific day. Thank you, Deb.